Take 2065.
Woo! Some days are hard, aren't they? Some days you wake up and you just feel like, oh, maybe I can do this. But today's coaching lesson, we're going to bring that out of your head. We're going to talk about belief. So, what is belief? I have a great story for this, but why is belief important? I've been training for a long, long time, and one thing that helps me bring confidence in knowing that I believe that you can see great success in this system is that the things that we have and the different people that I've seen that we've helped. So let's go for an example. I have a mentor of mine, and I was assistant coaching one day at his place, and I saw that there was an older lady there. She was probably about 60s, 70-year old, and she was working out. Her movement wasn't that great. I was honestly a little afraid she was going to injure herself, but my mentor, he had no problem with it. He always believed that she was going to do great in his system, that she was going to do the things necessary to see great results. And she ended up seeing the most amazing body transformation. Probably lost 40 or 50 pounds and looks like a totally different person now. So age was irrelevant. It was his belief in her. So today let's talk about belief. So you may have heard of the Great Blondin. He's a tightrope walker. He started at a very young age. He was a prodigy tightrope walker in Europe. And the Great Blondin pretty much smashed all other tightrope walkers. A lot of people thought this guy is probably the best in Europe, no doubt, maybe the best in the world, but he wanted to prove it to everyone. He wanted to do something that no one had ever done. So he had this idea one day that he was going to tightrope walk all the way across the Niagara Falls. So he calls the Niagara Falls up. This is the time when the Niagara Falls is really, really big, tons of tourists, and he's like, hey, I want to tightrope walk across the Niagara Falls. And people were like, no, first of all, that's dangerous, you're going to kill yourself. It just doesn't make any sense, like why would we let you do that? But he persisted. He called over and over and again, year after year after year. And finally, when the hub from the Niagara Falls went down, they said, okay, go ahead. We need a little bit of publicity. Go ahead and walk across, kill yourself. We need publicity, whatever. So he gets up there, sits his tightrope walk up. Tons of people are packed everywhere on the other side, on the side that he's there. Now he had in his head, he wasn't going to just tightrope walk across. He was going to tightrope walk with the wheelbarrow. Now, if you ever picture a wheelbarrow is hard enough to push on ground, imagine tightrope walking across with a wheelbarrow. So people pretty much sure that he was going to die. He gets on there, he starts to take a step off, really unstable, the wind is just blowing, the line is just shifting, parents are just covering their children's eyes, expecting him to fall to his death. He slowly brings it out there, about halfway he just stops. It looks like he loses his balance. He just has to refocus himself. By now, everyone can't look. They're expecting the wheelbarrow to just tilt, all the rocks to fall, and he just falls straight down to the Niagara Falls. But he regains his composure. He walks slowly across, and just as he's almost there, he throws his wheelbarrow across, and he does a cartwheel across the other side. He was in control the whole time, and the crowd just explodes. They go wild. Everyone's amazed at the Great Blondin. News reporters come by, they interview him, they try to talk to him. He talks all day, everyone's applauding. And there's a new reporter there, a young man, this is his first job ever. And he waits for the Great Blondin about to leave, and he runs over and he says, hey, Great Blondin, can I ask you a question? The Great Blondin looks at him and he says, well, if I can ask you a question first. And the boy says, okay, yeah, go ahead. Fair enough, fair enough. The kid really wants the story, he can do whatever the Great Blondin tells him. He says, kid, do you think that I could walk across there again with my wheelbarrow? The kid's like, of course I think you can. You're the Great Blondin, you just walked across. He's like, okay, do you know that I could do it? The kid's a little confused. Yeah, I just said, I thought you could, I know you could, and you've done it before, what's the point? He's like, do you believe that I could walk across with my wheelbarrow again? And he's like, I was really confused. He's like, yeah, I believe it. The Great Blondin takes his wheelbarrow, dumps the rocks out, puts it back, and he says, get in the wheelbarrow. And that's the difference between knowing, thinking, and believing. Because a lot of times we know something, a lot of times we think something, but do we really believe in it so much that when it comes down to it, if we were going to go across that line in the Great Blondin's wheelbarrow, that we would have enough faith? And that's the whole deal with believing. So this weekend I want you to work on believing in yourself, believing that you can make a great transformation, and that you have the power. And we believe in you too here at BFit Tacoma, and we know you're going to see great results. So that's the story of the Great Blondin. At the end of his career, the Great Blondin actually did this act over and over again. At the end of his career, his manager actually got into the wheelbarrow and he walked across with him. And that's how much faith that his manager had in his client. And that's the end of the Great Blondin story. We will see you later in the next video. Thanks.